Alright, so this lecture will begin a series of lectures on the content browser. In this lecture, I will give an overview of the content browser and show you the various ways to use it to find the specific content you're looking for. So by default, the content browser is collapsed and can be expanded by clicking on the Content Drawer button. Once the panel loses focus, it will automatically collapse again. If you want to keep it permanently docked, you can click on the Dock and Layout button. And then if you want to collapse it again, just click on the X and the tab. So the content browser, just like the Create menu, can be used to drag and drop actors into your level. So for example, I can click on this rock actor and drag it through the viewport into my level. Or I can click on this material here and drag it onto the floor to change the surface of the floor. So it's similar to the Create menu. However, while the Create menu contains a list of generic built-in actors for you to use, the content browser can be used to create actors or to import in actors created outside of the Unreal Editor. So most of the space of the content browser is taken up by the Asset window. The Asset window contains the folders and assets for the current project. To the left of the Asset window is the Sources panel. The Sources panel contains the folder directory for the content browser. When I select a folder in the Sources panel, it will open that folder in the Asset window. The Asset window will contain both the subfolders of whatever folder you are currently in, and unlike the Sources panel, it will also contain the files or assets within that folder. So if I open the Starter Content folder over here in the Sources panel, and then open the Props folder, all I will see in the Props folder is the Materials folder. But if I click on the Props folder, when we view it over here in the Asset window, we can see the Materials folder, but we can also see all the assets that are contained in the Props folder. So the Sources panel is useful for navigating through folders without the clutter of the files themselves. Alright, so what if I have a large project and my content browser now contains hundreds or thousands of folders and subfolders, and I want to find a specific one? Well, luckily there is a search option here in the Sources panel. So let's say I want to find all folders that contain the word audio. All I have to do is type audio in the search box here, and it will return a list of all folders containing that word. Similarly, if I want to search the content itself, I just need to put a search term in this box here in the Asset window. So if I wanted to find all assets I currently have in this project relating to lamps, I can just type the word lamp here, and it will return all files containing the word lamp. Alright, so what if I wanted to find all of the content I have in this project or within a folder of a certain type? For example, what if I just wanted to find all of the static meshes within a folder and its subfolders? To do that, I can click on the Filters button here, and it will bring up a menu where I can select what file types I want to filter by. So if I click Static Mesh, it will show me all the static meshes I have within this folder. Right now I'm in the root folder, so it's basically showing me all the static meshes I have loaded into the content browser so far. Now if I wanted to see all meshes, I could also click on Skeletal Mesh, and now it will show me all static meshes and all skeletal meshes. And if I had a lot of these clicked and wanted to clear them all instead of unclicking them one by one, I can just go up here and click on the Reset Filters button, and it will clear out all the filters I had applied. You can also combine the search and filter functions here. So let's say again that I was searching for lamps, and I typed lamp here. It will return all files with lamp in the name, but let's say I was specifically looking for only lamp static meshes. Then I could just apply the static mesh filter here, and it will narrow down the results to only static mesh files with lamp in the name. Alright, so down at the bottom of the Sources panel is the Collections panel. Collections are a way to help you organize your assets by placing them into groups. Now you may be thinking, isn't that what folders are for? And the answer is yes, you do want to organize your assets into the most logical folder structure possible, but that can only go so far. For example, let's say I wanted to have a grouping of all my chairs. I can make another folder here called Chairs and move my chairs into it. But what if I also wanted to group all of my yellow objects? I could make a folder called Yellow, but then I would have to choose whether to put my yellow chair in the Chairs folder or the Yellow folder. And I don't want to have to try and track and maintain multiple copies of my assets either. So the solution is to use collections, because when you add an asset to a collection, you're really only adding a shortcut to that asset in the collection and not the asset itself. So you can add an asset to multiple collections without having to move or make a copy of the asset itself. So I can make a collection called chairs and add my chair to it. And I can also make a collection called yellow and add the chair to that too, along with my other yellow objects. To make a new collection, click the Add button here, and then you'll be given a list of 3 types of collections to choose from. The first 2 only apply when you are working with other people on the same project, and because I am not, these are grayed out. And so my only option is to select Local Collection. Once I do that, I can give my collection a name, so I'm going to call this collection Chairs, and press Enter. So now I have my Chairs collection. To the right of the name, it will show you the current number of assets in the collection. If you hover the mouse over the name of the collection, you will see more information about it. This is a local collection, meaning only I am using it. Also, this is a static collection, which I'll go over more in a second. So now I can hit the back button to go back to the folder I was just in. And now I can select this chair here and drag it over to where it says Chairs, and it will be added to the Chairs collection. And notice that the count for this collection has incremented to 1. Also, notice that this box is checked now, which means that one or more assets in this collection are currently selected. If you uncheck this box, whatever assets are currently selected will be removed from the collection. Now I can do the same thing again and make a collection called Yellow. And now I can start adding my yellow objects to that collection. So I'm going to add the chair to this collection as well, along with some other yellow objects. Now if I click on this collection, I can see all the assets it contains. And notice that both of these collections contain the yellow chair, even though the chair hasn't actually moved from its original folder. Alright, so that's how you create static collections, but there's also a way for you to create what's called dynamic collections. So if, for example, I were to do my lamp search again, and I wanted to save the results as a collection, I could click this save icon here, and this will allow me to save this as a collection. But this will be saved as a dynamic collection. And what that means is that it's not saving these assets as the collection, it's saving the search query of lamp within the content folder as the collection. Meaning every time I click on my lamps collection now, it will be performing that search and returning the results. So if I were to add a new asset with the word lamp in it, anywhere in the content folder or one of its subfolders, that asset would be automatically added to this collection. Alright, so moving on, up here we have a back button and a forwards button. And these work just like the back and forwards buttons in Windows or in a web browser. You can use them to go back to the last so many folders you were in and then forwards again if you wish. So if I go to the architecture folder, and then the audio folder, and then the maps folder, and then I hit the back button, it will take me back to the audio folder that I was just in. And if I hit the back button again, it will take me back to the architecture folder. Now if I hit forwards, it will go to the audio folder, and then to the maps folder again. So to the right of the back and forwards buttons are the breadcrumbs. Now you've probably seen this kind of navigation layout before, even if you've never heard that term, but the basic idea is to show you the direct path from the root folder down to the folder you're in. So right now I'm in a folder called Materials, that is in a folder called Props, that is in the Starter Content folder, which is in the root directory, which is simply called Content. And if I want to go directly to any one of these folders, all I need to do is click on the name, and it will take me straight there. And if I want to quickly look at the subfolders within any of these folders, I can click on this little arrow icon to the right of any of the folder names, and it will bring up a list of all the subfolders, which I can also navigate directly to by clicking on. Okay, so that will conclude this lecture on the content browser and finding assets within it.